I'm just here doing the service and the check over on your Husky snowblower. So I'm going to do this in a couple of parts just because I have to put the snowblower back down on its wheels to go over a whole bunch of other things. But this part just concerns your drive. I would say this hasn't had service for a while because if I look at the chain, it's all pretty dry in here. But the bigger thing that needs to be repaired is the trunnion bearing. So I know it has a funny name, but that's what it is. So we get a shot of that guy right there. And when I go back a little bit and maybe put the camera this way and I turn the wheel with my hand, you can see where the trunnion bearing becomes important. So what happens here is this is the shifting mechanism that is connected to the handle up on top. And your rubber friction disc, which is here, makes contact with the steel disc that is run by a belt off the engine. So this spins all the time. And when you pull the handle up on your left side, I think it is, on this one, when you pull the handle, that makes that disc move and make contact with the rubber disc up here. So usually I can do these by hand, but I can't quite get it with the camera. You can see it moving a little bit when I pull the cable. So all it does is all it's doing is just pivoting up like this, and it makes contact with the rubber disc. When it makes contact with the rubber disc, then your wheels turn. So that makes the trunnion bearing really important, because what happens when these guys finally get wore out enough, like yours is, the little ball bearings inside between the two races in the bearing, they decide to fall out or break or grind or stop rolling or whatever they decide to do, and this all gets really floppy, and then pieces start falling out, and you don't have drive anymore, because of course it's all just flopping around. So that's the first thing that needs done, is the trunnion bearing. Next thing, rubber disc has quite a bit of wear on it. That's your rubber friction disc here, and they wear just like tires do. I would suggest changing that at the same time as doing the trunnion bearing. So those are the two things here in the drive. We'll be back in just a second and show you the rest of the stuff. All right, so let's finish going down through the list of repairs that your poor old Husky needs. You already know it needs a new deflector cable because that's melted. You'd mentioned that's one of the things that you wanted to have fixed up. If we go to this part of the snowblower, so snowblower is broken into two halves, unless it's something like a Toro. Some of the Toros, they are sort of just one unit, but most every other snowblower has a drive section and an auger housing section, and they're mounted together in the center. Yours has a pivot rod that runs all the way across to the other side. There's another side on the other side of the drive. There's on the drive chassis, there's another weld just like that one, and then we have two bolts on yours that are like this. And if I am able to do it, you can see how we have all kinds of nice play. And if I was able to balance this enough, well, maybe I can with my arm, I can actually go down here and I can take that bolt out. And the other side is the same way. So basically the snowblower is just the two halves are sort of waiting to fall apart from each other. So what I can do there possibly is I can add a nut and washers and a couple of different bolts. I'd probably put some grade 8 bolts in it, as long as I have enough room on this side. So what you can't do is you can't be too long and have too much stuff on the other side, because what happens is it starts making contact with the back side of the belt, and then you chew your belts all up. So I'll do my best and see if I can put some nuts and washers there. Otherwise, the only other way to do it is to split the snowblower in half, grind off what's left of the weld-on nuts, because that's what they were, and weld on new nuts. and then put it back together again. So that's the more expensive repair, so we'll try to do it the cheaper way. Next. On all kinds of stuff going on here. So that bearing, you need a new one. So we're not connected to the snowblower, so we need the screws. We need a new bearing underneath the flange. So we need another one of those guys because he's seized. Throw that over there. We're lucky we still have that. You need the new bushing blocks for the shaft because that's all chewed up. There's a big chunk of rope stuck in it. You need a block on this side as well. That one's wore out. But the bigger deal is on this side because nothing's being supported. And you have impellers that either need to be replaced or there's really no straightening them because when they're this bad, it's almost impossible to straighten them out without breaking the welds off and stuff like that. So you have a big mess of bent augers. I don't know how else to put it. So you'll have to decide on that part for yourself if you want to replace them or not replace them. So to replace them, you split the snowblower in half because there is a bolt on the back side and a pulley on the other side of the auger housing behind the black impeller. And you have to take that off to be able to pull all the auger shaft out and the impeller shaft, and then you remove the impellers off, or the augers off the shafts as you replace them. That's the next thing. On the left side, your lower chute needs to be replaced. That would have to be replaced. That is a safety issue. And the reason being is that because you are having a really high spinning blade in here that grabs a hold of little rocks, it can throw it out through the side of it, and they tend to fly into people that are walking by or happen to be close by, or windows and all kinds of other things. So that's one guy that would have to be replaced. Let's see. Recoil rope is frayed really bad. And you kind of need a recoil on this snowblower because of issues you have with your electric starter. So once again, we have a safety hazard. There's an object that's been stuck in one side of the electric start. That's why it doesn't work very well, because it's probably been arcing and it's been getting carpened up inside from electrical arcs. The other part is that the earth ground pin is broke off, and if actually you read on the starter label itself, it tells you not to use the electric starter without that earth ground connected, and you're supposed to actually have a 3-wire electrical cord when you operate these. So you can use your recoil start to start your snowblower. But as far as repairing this, that's not repairable. You have to buy the whole starter unit. You wouldn't be able to fix that. Let's see what's next. Got the trunnion bearing. So the belts were in good shape. Never had any problem with those. I didn't note whether or not, because I was sort of tied up with other things with it, I didn't note the headlight, whether it was working or not. But if it's not, then I'll get back to you. And the other cables look like they're okay. Everything's operating. The chute spins side to side and that sort of thing. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this long video to you. Sorry about that. And maybe you can give me a little bit of guidance on whether or not you want to repair this guy, or if you would rather put your money into something that's newer and in better shape. Anyway, be in touch soon, and you have a great day.